Welcome back to the Colin and Miles show.
We've been on semi-hiatus.
More than usual.
Well,
We recorded back in December, so
we know
it's
you
been
missed
like
us,
2
so
months.
we're here again. And if you've been keeping up with us, you'll see that we've been doing other things, but we'll get to that later.
Yes, and since Miles didn't pick up on it, I'm Colin.
And I'm Miles, and this is Paddington. Welcome back. Well, welcome back. And for this 27th episode of the Colin and Miles show, we've got a few different things.
Yes, but we will not dwell on any of them too much,
Yes.
even though I might want to.
So, what do we got up first?
The first topic is a movie that we watched like pretty much after we recorded our last episode and before Christmas. We went to see Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
Which is like an origin story of Willy Wonka, but it is more like an origin story of Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka. Mainly, we can pick that up because of how he looks and how his costume is, and yeah.
He's no Tim Burton, Willy Wonka for sure. But it was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was a little hesitant. I wasn't really sure how much I would enjoy it, but I think it exceeded both of our expectations.
Yeah, it was, how do I say this? It was a very well thought out movie, and it, had some good heartwarming moments.
Yes, and it contained all of the whimsy and wonder that is Wonka.
The whimsical wonders of Wonka.
Yes, that is called...
What?
Right, and any other day I would know what that is.
We'll get back to it. Don't worry. We'll figure it out.
Oh, God.
Look in the comment.
We're going to cut this
So,
out.
no, we're not.
Yes, we are. Alliteration. That's alliteration.
Oh, okay. So we're not cutting out.
Where you have the same sound at least 3 times in a row.
Yes. We have an idea for a song that we never did for these long words that are obnoxious and, have different meanings.
Well, they're literary devices. That's what
I think we talked about it in a previous episode.
Yeah, probably, because you've been talking about it since you met me, pretty much.
Yeah, because you use all these big fancy words. How am I supposed to?
Because you should have learned these in high school literature.
I didn't pay attention much in high school. So, now that we have covered the Wonka,
but also we have to say, my other thought was, we have to realize that there are 2 realities, and I'm okay with that. One reality in which Gene Wilder is Willy Wonka, and one in which Johnny Depp is, because while I like Johnny Depp's version better, I suppose, I like both versions. I like...
In their own way.
Yeah, maybe I like them equally. It's just, to dress up, I wanted to be Johnny Depp's version, because I'm more of a Johnny Depp fan, and more that weird,
You don't say.
weird type of thing.
Yeah. Well, moving on to Percy Jackson, and not to be confused with our cat, Percy.
Who is sitting right behind the camera, actually.
He's our camera operator today. But we recently finished that season, and it was, I think, a decent season, albeit what I really found interesting is listening to Colin, because she read the book that it's based off of, and getting her take on how they didn't necessarily incorporate certain elements of it, nor did they have certain aspects that were true to the character development.
Yeah. So the problem was I had read the whole Percy Jackson series about eight years ago, I think. That's a good estimation. About 8 years ago, but I reread the first book right before we watched this season, which is 8 episodes. And that was a problem because I had it, fresh in my mind, and I was...
Our camera operators come over here.
And so I had that in my mind, and before, like, in the past, I did try to watch the original movie, the first one that came out, but I wasn't impressed immediately, so I was like, I'm not going to watch this, because I thought, it doesn't follow the book. Well, now, we need to rewatch. I need to watch the whole movie just to see if I like it now. But anyway, I just got really, really annoyed because they were just blatantly, like, I know they only had a short amount of time, and I know that when you adapt things...
But there's some things that...
But, like, some things they got wrong. It's like when you're taking the time to tell a story and you tell it blatantly wrong.
Well, one example, and, I think that this has to do with Disney's, wow, I'll just say that right. Oh, Percy, what are you doing? Let's get you down from here, buddy. You get back to the camera operation. We can't have a show without you. One thing that I feel that led to this was Disney's push for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and them stemming, we have to include minorities in certain percentage of our roles, which, is clear because of the Disney publication saying that they had to meet certain elements of diversity, equity, and inclusion for all of their productions. And that means that underrepresented groups are filling certain casting spots. Well, who was the girl in the book that had red hair? Clarice, who is the daughter
of Ares.
So,
the God of War.
The God of War.
And she and all of the other kids from Ares have, really bad tempers, and they're basically hotheads, which it made sense for her hair to be red because hothead, it was symbolic.
Yeah.
But I understand that sometimes you have to cast people who may not fit the description if they're the best person for that role. And I'm not sure in some of these cases that were true. That was true, whichever is correct. But anyway, and I get that even like Percy, his description, like Percy Jackson is supposed to have black hair and blue eyes. And this kid had like red hair.
And then Annabelle.
Annabeth.
Excuse me.
It's okay, because I actually thought she kind of played it all right.
Yeah, whenever you first described the actual physical characteristics of Annabeth, before we watched it, and we only seen the trailer, I was like, oh, well, I kind of see that. And, I think that Annabeth was an appropriate casting, albeit, not truly representative of what was in the book. It was an appropriate casting. But, it's, smaller things, like that are symbolic, like towards Ares' daughter, and all the kids having red hair. Why are you taking that out? That doesn't make sense. But
and I was annoyed because it just seemed like they made everything too easy and explained everything too quickly, and they weren't letting the characters go on this journey, and maybe they could have had 10 episodes or 13, and they could have done a better job with not having to cut
whatever happened to 21 or 24 episodes per season, but
well, they can't do that. But I'm thinking if we're paying for it, they should at least give us 10.
Either way, it was very good, just if you're gonna watch it.
Yes, and if you haven't read the books, it's very good because you won't be comparing it to the book, because this first season was just the first book. And then also I wanted to say when you read the Percy Jackson books, I feel like you learn
more
a lot of Greek mythology. I don't care what the employee of Brahms said, that it's wrong. Reading Percy Jackson has helped me with a lot of Jeopardy clues, so it can't be that wrong.
There you go.
And anyway, I felt like we didn't learn as much Greek mythology from the TV series, or the series.
Yeah. I feel like I got a lot more Greek mythology from the pausing during the series and, talking to you about the discrepancies and you telling more about the Greek mythology. So I enjoyed it in that sense. So if you have someone who's read the book and, wants to opine about the disparities, as I'd encourage you to have that individual with you while watching so you can get that additional Greek mythology that is left out.
And we should mention that this series is probably geared towards like tweens or like early teenagers.
Okay.
But so it's not like an adult show. So it's family friendly, but it's not like an adult probably isn't going to enjoy it if they haven't like read the book, if they don't have any connection to the book.
Yeah. Well, does that cover Percy?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
but the other things are going to be very quick.
That's okay. Young Sheldon, which is, if you don't know, we've talked about it before, is the life of Dr. Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory growing up in Texas. And at the beginning of the series, the child that they casted was appropriate. However, as he has hit puberty, it has become increasingly aware that this is not, in fact, the Dr. Sheldon Cooper, albeit you still have Jim Parsons doing the voiceover as Dr. Sheldon Cooper. And needless to say...
What do you mean by that exactly? Because I think he's filling in...
I think his voice is too deep.
Well, but I think his size, like now he's taller than almost everybody, or as tall.
Yeah, he is growing.
So that tracks. If they had cast someone that ended up to be a short person,
that
wouldn't be good. Since old Sheldon is, tall. I think it's all right.
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't really bother me. But it does bother me that the kids playing 12-year-olds are 14, probably close to 15 now because they had to take a hiatus with COVID, and also because apparently their timeline doesn't track our year-to-year timeline in the real world.
Yeah. But
so
needless to say, it's the last season is on, and it's pretty good.
And I'm annoyed because it's a shortened season because the writers' strike. So it's only 13 episodes instead of the 20
that we should be promised on network television, but whatever.
But I'm sad that it's over because I really do like this show a lot. It makes me laugh, and it's hilarious sometimes.
No, they do have good comedy in it.
But I'm hoping... Sorry, Bunny, I didn't know you were right there. Instead, I'm hoping that them ending it now, we may, end before they kill off the dad. Mm-hmm. So, if they kill him on the last episode, I'm going to be super mad.
That's going to be annoying. To say the least. Well, now let's move to another show that we just started watching. After the Super Bowl, the star Justin Hartley from This Is Us, Arrow, Smallville.
Not Arrow.
What was it?
He was in Smallville as the Green Arrow.
Yeah, he was Smallville as the Green Arrow.
He wasn't
Excuse me, not in Arrow. Yes, my mistake. Sorry to you. Not to you. I say that because the podcast we listen to recapping Smallville includes, these two individuals, this fine gentleman here and this lazy individual, Michael Rosenbaum right here. I say that because it's clear that they don't, take consideration into planning a podcast, but, I'll get into that in a minute. Anyway, Justin Hartley, who plays Arrow in Smallville and who plays one of the triplets in This Is Us.
It's about this guy who he calls himself a rewardist, But he like collects people's rewards or that rewards that have been posted by the police or by families for missing people. He collects the reward money, and so like to me, it reminds me of Supernatural with just Dean probably, yeah.
And no pie.
Yeah, and it also has the mom from the Santa Claus movies.
Yeah.
Laura, but that's her name on the Santa Clauses.
But
anyway,
it premiered after the Super Bowl, and so we recorded that, and we've watched the first 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
I want to see how the character development goes. I want to learn more about his history and more about, things that are being hidden from us right now.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's on what seems to be a wholesome quest, to rectify bad things.
I guess it just seems kind of shady, but although Supernatural is kind of shady because they made their money off of scams and scamming credit card companies and whatever. So, but I just feel like it's kind of in poor taste to just demand the reward money from people. But if they didn't want to pay it,
they wouldn't put it out there. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they shouldn't have put it out there. So I don't know. It could go both ways. But anyway, I don't think we've given anything away. So
well,
no
let's
spoilers.
come back for our next one, and we'll let you know how it's going.
Yes.
But before we go, I said I'd bring these guys up later. Speaking of podcasts, so we recently started a bi-weekly. Is it bi-weekly? Bi-monthly.
Yeah.
Every other week, whatever the heck that is a podcast called You Ought to Watch. And what we are doing is reviewing movies from the aughts, 2000 to 2009, and giving our unbridled opinions of them.
You like that word?
Yeah.
Unbridled. Yes. So I found a website, and I'm confirming the release dates with another website, but anyway, we're trying to watch them in chronological order of how they were released into theaters, and that means U.S. theaters, not internationally. So sometimes we've had 2 so far that are like, oh, it's a 1999 movie, but it's actually 2000 because it was released either to the public or to the U.S. in 2000. So we're counting that. Oh. And we're going to have to start being a little picky because I think if we watch every single movie that is on the list, it's going to take like a million years. Yeah. And we're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So eventually we're going to say, we're going to watch the trailer. Do we really want to watch this movie?
But unlike the podcast I mentioned earlier, Talkville, with this fine gentleman here and this lazy individual here, all right, we are actually planning out, particulars of the podcast and, doing research on the movie, on the characters, as to where I think this guy, does more research depending on how attractive the female guest star is and whether or not he wants to hook up with her.
And also, we know that sometimes he's lazy because he specifically said, oh, I watched this on my phone as I was going to sleep.
And they record 4 to 6 episodes at a time. Okay, yeah. Well,
I'm not going to do that because
they all just blend together, yeah.
But like with ours, we have notebooks and we're writing down stuff as we're watching, and we don't even talk about it until the podcast.
Yeah, because I think it really inspires good conversation.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's where we're at now with the, life of Colin and me.
Well, it's really what we're watching.
Yeah.
What we're doing. And you can find the podcast, You Ought, and we should say it's spelled AUGHT like the Aughts. Uh-huh. So You Ought to Watch. And it's on Spotify. It's on
Apple Podcasts.
And also, if you want to watch us,
Go to YouTube.
YouTube or our Facebook.
Yeah.
The Colin and Miles show stuff. So,
Same one you see here. But other than that, do we have anything else to cover?
I guess that's all. I guess I'll put this plug in for Jeff.
What plug-in?
The next time our club has lessons and we invite you, you should join us.
Oh, yeah.
For square dance lessons.
Yeah, if you're in the Oklahoma City area and you are not doing anything normally on Sundays, particularly afternoons, is join us for square dancing because it's fun. You get exercise. You hang around a bunch of Looney Tune characters that end up becoming friends.
Yes, and even if you haven't gone through lessons, you could stop by and just see what it's all about and see if it looks interesting.
Yeah, and square dancing may seem like, oh, that seems like such a stupid thing that they used to do out in the olden days. Yes, that too, but it's enjoyable. It's fun, as they do it to all kinds of music. Although I have yet to see Jeff do a rap song
or heavy metal.
I would pay to see that, but just saying. Either way. It's enjoyable, it's fun, and you get to hang out with your loved one, my lover.
And you don't have to dress up if you don't want to.
But you do have to dress in something.
Well, yeah.
No birthday suits.
You don't have to wear the square dance outfits if you really don't want to.
Yuppers. Other than that, I think that about covers it.
Yes, I think it does.
Well, for this episode 27 of the Colin and Miles Show.
I'm Colin.
And I'm Miles. See you next time.
Bye.
Buddy, no, you gotta go. Hold on, he's this.
What happened to you being the cameraman?
It feels like he needs to be on camera now.
You almost got me. You got my shirt.
Oh my.